Hey everyone, Arashi here, back again with another upload, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about why Qui Gon Jinn is exactly the perfect master for Anakin Skywalker, or in a sense, was the perfect master for Anakin Skywalker. As we all know, Qui Gon Jinn was only for the Force and only wanted to search for the Force at all times, and he only made moves based on what the Force was going to tell him. I don't believe that Qui Gon Jinn necessarily hated the dark side of the Force, but he just knew that it was part of the Force and that it can completely corrupt you to do bad things. The dark side of the Force is also a way to bend the Force to your will, and that's not what Qui Gon Jinn wanted. He wanted just oneness with the Force. He wanted to be with the Force 24/7. And this is why Qui Gon Jinn is actually a great Jedi. He didn't necessarily want anything to do with the Republic. And this is why Qui Gon Jinn actually wanted nothing to do with the Jedi Council at the time. He felt like the Jedi were being completely disconnected from the Force during this time. The Jedi during this time were becoming more and more like politicians every single day. Too tangled up with the Republic in itself that they weren't actually paying attention to the Force. This is why somebody like Palpatine was able to hatch plans and completely overrule the Jedi over the course of the next couple years. And he did this completely right underneath their noses while also living on Coruscant. Only a few Jedi were actually able to see through the ploy and what was going on with the Jedi Order at the time, and one being Count Dooku, Pong Krell, Barriss Offee, and I believe Qui-Gon Jinn as well. Now obviously there's different levels that these Jedi took it to, as in Barriss Offee, Count Dooku, and Pong Krell absolutely trying to betray the Jedi and kill as many as they could. Whereas Qui-Gon just didn't want anything to do with the Jedi and the Council or anything to do with the Republic, and just wanted to find the Force itself. He wanted to find his place and just discover what the Force had to offer. Which is why Qui-Gon was the one who actually had to come back and teach Grandmaster Yoda how to become a Force ghost. Qui-Gon knew that Yoda was all-powerful, that he was extremely wise, and that he was one of the most powerful Jedis to ever walk in the galaxy. But even Yoda was so blinded by the Republic and being so traveled and locked in with politicians that he wasn't necessarily seeking out the Force as much as Qui-Gon was. Goes to show, it doesn't matter how powerful necessarily you are, you can still also learn something from someone that's beneath you or somebody who you deem is weaker than you. Now, you may be asking yourself, why does this equate to Anakin Skywalker? Or how does this equate to Anakin Skywalker? How does Qui-Gon be the perfect master for an Anakin? Anakin was very troubled, as we all knew, during his time as a Jedi. First, it was the visions of his mother dying, then it was the visions of Padme dying. And as we all know, Anakin lived in constant fear, and fear is one of the number one causes that leads you to do things that lead you to the dark side of the Force. Similarly to what the Jedi did, Obi-Wan did the exact same thing to Anakin, just telling him to be mindful of his feelings and to just forget the feelings, because that's not the way of the Jedi. No one actually gave Anakin tips and tricks on how to defeat this fear. Everyone was just so fearful of him turning to the dark side of the Force, which he ended up doing anyway. With Anakin being the chosen one, it's fate that he would have to know the entire Force, even the darker natures of the Force itself. And I believe that Qui-Gon would have completely understood this. The Jedi kept trying to force light side styles back into Anakin's head when he was feeling all these dark emotions and he just wasn't counteracting. Qui-Gon would have actually taught Anakin how to control his dark side emotions and have him work in conjunction with his light side abilities already. I mean, there are already a few Jedi on the Council that actually would have been able to do this themselves. I mean, Mace Windu created Vapehead in order to control his dark side emotions and put him in his combat form. I believe that Qui-Gon would have actually had Anakin do something very similar to that. Instead of actually pushing away his dark side emotions, he would have had Anakin completely learn how to control and master them and turn them into something good. Which is something that actually another Skywalker had to do, Luke Skywalker being said that he actually had to do something very similar. And that is because Qui-Gon Jinn understood what complete and total balance in the Force actually was and what it might have looked like. If Qui-Gon hadn't died to Maul, we might have actually seen one of the most powerful versions of Anakin Skywalker come to life, which would have also led to Anakin having a purple lightsaber, signifying complete and total balance in the Force within him. Qui-Gon would have actually taught Anakin what complete and total balance was. Instead of actually learning what true balance was early, Anakin actually experienced the extremes of both sides, in which both extremes eventually had him go to the dark side of the Force and eventually become Darth Vader. Which, pretty ironically, is something that the Jedi actually did. They are the ones that pushed him down the dark side even further than what he needed to be. Well, that's all I got for this video. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I personally believe that if Anakin was trained by Qui-Gon, we would have actually gotten the version of Anakin that we saw in the Ahsoka TV series. Maybe not so much of the Darth Vader side of him, but just definitely this perfect balance is what I'm talking about here. We saw Anakin with perfect balance in Ahsoka, and I believe that's what the version of Anakin we would have got if Qui-Gon would have taught him everything that he knew and taught him how to actually control his emotions and not be led by them. But as I said, that's all I got for this video. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. May the Force be with you, and as always, have a great rest of your day.